Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the 2011 Elddis Autoquest 100. So as we start our walk round on the outside of the vehicle first, your West alloy key does your gas locker. And in here you can fit two 6 kilogram bottles. It runs off propane. So to connect the pigtail to the bottle, it's a left-hand thread. Then all you need to do is hand tighten the red collar there and turn on and off at the top of the bottle here. Make sure it's off when traveling, and then you can turn it on when you arrive on your site. And then you've got some straps here to strap the bottle in to make sure it's secure when traveling. There is a crash valve on the back of the regulator here, so if you were struggling to get gas through the vehicle, you just press this for 3 seconds and allow the gas through the lines of the vehicle. Then you're probably best off priming it through your hob first if you to get the gas to the highest point in the vehicle. Coming further back, so to fill with fresh water, you'd use your wheel submersible pump. So you can get a submersible or you can get this type. Submersible would go to an aqua roll. This type goes onto a hose pipe. You've got your connection there, your block connection. That just clips into here. The other end of the hose pipe, connect it to the hose. Fill until you're happy there's enough water on board, or until it is full, which you can see on the main control panel. So you've got this type of filler, i.e. if you were pulling onto a site, you'd stop at the motorhome service bay on the way in, fill with fresh water before parking on your pitch. But if you were wanting to leave the van where it was at and roll water to the vehicle, you would need an aqua roll or container, and get the other type, which is this connection to a submersible pump which drops into the barrel aqua roll or container. Coming further back, you've got your freshwater drain, so you've got your filler via the pump. If you've taken on contaminated water, you're draining down for the winter, which is very important that you allow all the water out in the winter, as you wouldn't want it to freeze in the tank as it's not covered under warranty. You just simply open, and this is just fresh water coming out there on the blue tap. At the back, you've got your cassette. So again, opens with the West alloy key. So you can push these both in. And then at the top, you've got your header tank. So your flush is through here. It's not through the main freshwater tank. So you can see on here that how much flush you've got in there. So you've got just a little bit. When this is full, it means your fresh is full. And what you need to do is you need to get some pink liquid. Very good. And then you get your pink liquid, you put it in there and you dilute it. So you may want to carry a watering can or a jug to dilute this and pour into here. And then when you've pressed the flush on the toilet, this is the liquid you would get through. Everything then goes into the cassette. So if you press the green button and slide it out, ensure that the blades close on the cassette bowl of the toilet first, otherwise this won't come out and you'll know what you've done. You need to slide that grey lever, which I'll show you inside. Slide it out, take the cap off, go to your waste disposal point, press the button at the back and tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, put some water in via this spout here, put the cap back on and give it a rinse and tip out again. Then if you're using the liquid form, you've got 120 ml there of chemical, so you can put a cap full of chemical in, either the green or the blue. Or if you're using the tablet form, you put it in completely dry, flush a pint of the pink flush liquid through into the cassette, and then follow by a tablet which is in the sachet form, so you can either get the blue or the green tablets. Ask your site which tablets or chemical they prefer you to use, because most sites will probably tell you the green instead of the blue, as the blue has dye in and the green's more environmentally friendly. But your site will let you know when you're booking that if you just ask the question. On the back, you've got your high level brake light and your reversing camera, and then you've got your bike rack. So you pull your bike rack down, you put your wheels through here, these through the spokes to tie the wheels down onto the rail, and then you'd put these through your crossbars. So your first bike and your second would just clip on there like so. Then what you'd probably want to do is put some sort of security around the bike, so i.e. your bike lock, and that would just connect onto there. At the back you've got your tow bar with your 13-pin electrics. And then if we walk around to the passenger side, you'll notice you've got a grey tap here. This is your wastewater. So this is anything you've put down the plug hole goes into a separate holding tank. And on the way out of the site, you'd stop off at the motorhome service pitch again and just drain this out. And it's very important that you drain this off in the winter as well, as you wouldn't want the water to freeze. And then inside the door, you've got your switch for your electric step. And you've also got your battery isolation switch. So make sure this is turned on to operate the 12-volt main control panel on board. But if you were leaving the vehicle unattended, i.e. parked up in storage or on the driveway for a few months, you can turn this off and it'll stop all the battery if there was a battery drain. Stop it going flat. Going further down, you've got your truma cover, so your boiler's behind here underneath your side bench seat there. So when heating the water on gas, this cover must come off. So pop your hand on the top, thumb in the middle and peel it off. Then put that either inside or in the passenger door, and it allows all the gas fumes off. But when heating the water on electric, you can leave it on. Next to it, you've got a connection. If you are on a super site, this is a tele point, so you can use their TV aerial by getting a length of coax, connecting from your vehicle to the post, and use their aerial if you are in a hard to reach signal area. Again, using the West alloy key, this is your battery locker. So you can open this up, and in here you've got your leisure battery and your mains connection point. So to connect the vehicle up, get your hooker blade, lift the collar up, expose the 3 ends there, and connect straight onto there. Put the wire through the groove, and then you can lock this locker and leave the wire in place. At the passenger door, you've got your diesel tank, so it opens with the main key to fill with diesel fuel. You've got your tyre pressure, so 5 bar on the front, which is 72.3 psi, and 5.5 bar on the back, which is 79.5 psi for your tyre pressures. Your engine battery lives underneath the floor here in this compartment, and then your bonnet release is on the side of the dashboard. Having a look under there to the left, you've got all your fluids. So you've got your screen wash, your power steering fluid, your brake fluid reservoir, your radiator coolant, and then you've got your engine oil. And just here you've got your dipstick on there. Paint code for the blank or white, which is 249. To give a jump start off the vehicle, or to jump start the vehicle, you've got your positive here and your negative there, and then your weights here. So your gross vehicle weight is 3.2 ton. Your train weight is 5 ton. So between that, you'd work out what you can pull, but the vehicle and whatever you're pulling can't exceed 5 ton. So on the side of the wardrobe is where you'll find your 12-volt control panel. So at the top there, it's telling you the volts in your leisure battery. So it's showing 14. Obviously it is hooked up. Take the hook up out and it'll give you a true reading of your volts on your leisure battery. So it's the reading of the leisure battery. Going down to vehicle is the vehicle battery reading, but you always want the vehicle to run off aux. The aux battery is the leisure battery. You don't want the vehicle to run off the vehicle battery, otherwise it could flatten the engine battery and you won't be able to start the engine. But if you press the water switch, it's now telling you you've got half a tank of fresh water, and then you've got your pump, so you can turn your pump on, and what that does is it pressurizes the water through the taps. If you don't have your pump on, you won't be able to use your taps, toilet or shower. You'll just get whatever's in the pipework and it will fade away. Telepoint, so you've got a TV aerial and a 12-volt socket there, the old style, so you need the 2 pins to the cigarette female end. 3-pin plug when hooked up, this will work. Your ultra store, so ultra store water on gas, as it's got the gas flame, so you turn down the gas and you've got 30 to 70 degrees of heating your water. This is where the cover needs to be off, otherwise you'll get the red light instead of the green light. And you've got your electric water heater this side, so you turn this on and off. Obviously make sure that you've got enough water on board before you start heating water, otherwise it is like putting the kettle on without any water in. You're going to burn the element out, so make sure that the boiler's closed and that you have got enough water on board via the gauge. And then you've got ultra heat, so heat the vehicle on 230 volt. So this is how you would heat your motorhome. So you turn up to 2000, which is 2 kilowatts, and you've got 1 to 9, 9 being 30 degrees, the highest temperature that you can heat a motorhome to. You've got off on the little O there. You've got 500 watt, which is half a kilowatt, and you've got 1000, which is 1 kilowatt. So all depending on what site you're on or what you're running in the background, i.e. kettle, toaster or high voltage appliance, you'd pick the source, but mainly you'd use 2000, which is 2 kilowatts on most sites throughout the UK. Your little smaller CL sites and abroad, you may have to use 1 kilowatt or half a kilowatt. But that switch needs to be on to operate this dial. In the kitchen area, you've got 3 lit gas rings on the top there. So use your spark ignition off the front of the oven there, and then you do have your grill. So you may need to hold it until the thermocouple gets warm before releasing the knob here. And then you do have your oven below. Below the oven, if you press this panel in, you've got your gas isolation taps in the red taps in the corner there. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. Any problems with gas, turn the bottle off just to be safe. But then you do have some storage for your pots and pans. To operate your domestic fridge, so you've got 3 ways. So you've got off on the top, you've got the plug which indicates 240 volts, so it will operate like a domestic fridge at home. So you'd use that if you were on site or you were pre-chilling it at home beforehand, a couple of days, charge the leisure battery, put the fridge on, allow that to cool down. Then you would use the battery setting if you'd pre-chilled the fridge beforehand. So if you're moving from home and it was pre-chilled with your shopping in to site, or you're moving from site to site and you had shopping in, it would keep it nice and fresh, and that's a feed off the engine battery. When the engine is running only, it'll get that feed because it comes off the alternator. And then below you've got gas. If you were wild camping, you'd have no other option but to use it off gas. You'd be using the heating, hot water off gas, fridge off gas, cooking off gas. And then you've got your temperature here, so you turn to the max temperature. You see you've got an ignition there, so you just click lighting, just keep sparking away until anyway, you would just keep sparking away until that orange band goes into the green. We'll have to get this looked at as we're doing the video before the vehicle has been for its pre-delivery inspection. So we'll have that looked at, and then on the day of collection you can have a look and we'll show you this working on gas. Also in the kitchen you've got your storage above, so you've got some big lockers above there. Got your light. Got a 3-pin plug when hooked up, which will work for your kettle, toaster.
Yes, there was.
Put your pump on, and then once the boiler's been open like it has, it does take a little bit of time to bleed the water back through. So on cold you'll get automatic cold water, go to hot It'll take time before it pressurizes, and there it has, it's pressurized a bit. So don't be alarmed if it starts coughing and spluttering. This is just process of what you have to do after winterizing. But I'll go through the winterization process in a moment when I start talking about the taps and the boiler. At the back you've got the window, so you can open your window and then tighten this to keep the window out. Loosen it, it'll come back in, and then you do have a blackout blind and fly screen. In the washroom area, you've got your shower. So when winterizing the shower, what you need to do is you need to remove the head from the hose, allow the hose to lie in the tray, and leave all the mixer taps in the middle position open. It stops any water coiling in the hose and in the pipes behind, and it also, when leaving it open, it stops any air locks from forming. And then when you come to reuse it, obviously you would shut it, put the head back on, put the hose back up before you start filling with water again. But I'll tell you a bit more about that as we go along. To operate the toilet, so press the button. You've got your flush, which is obviously off the header tank, which is the pink liquid. So always flush first, which lubricates the seal on the blade. To open the blade, you'd slide this to the right. Use the toilet with the blade open, then flush after use and close back to the left. When you get a light on here showing green, it means the cassette is full, it's reached its maximum capacity. You need to ensure that the blade's closed, and then you can get the cassette out the vehicle and you can go and empty it and replenish it with chemical. Got your tap, your hand basin tap. So make sure that the pump is on for that to work. Toiletry cabinet, and then you've got a shower screen that comes right the way along to cover the toilet, so your toilet roll and your toilet doesn't get wet when showering in the vehicle. Same blind with fly screen, a blackout blind on the window, and it opens as well, frosted. Got your bathroom light here, and then you've got your storage for your standalone table, which clips onto this bar with a folding leg should you want it there. So underneath your side facing bench seat, if you open the lock at the front, you'll find your location of all your 12-volt fuses. So it would be a good idea to carry some spare fuses, and they tell you what they do and the amperage of the fuse on the left hand side. And then here you have your trips. So if the vehicle's tripped out by a hairdryer or a kettle or a high voltage appliance on mains electric, try here before you try your main site, as you may have tripped a fuse. And then behind, you haven't got much storage in here, but you've got your water pump, which obviously when you turn the pump on the panel, this pressurizes the water through your taps. But you've also got your Truma boiler. So your Truma boiler does obviously your heating and your hot water. The hot water container in here is 10 litres. So you can see there it says 10 litres. Obviously in the winter you don't want that 10 litres of water to freeze. So what you need to ensure is that you drain it off. And to drain it off, there's a little yellow toggle tap here. When it's lying down, it's allowing the boiler to hold the 10 litres of water. If you stand it up, 10 litres of water will drain directly out underneath the chassis, and it will stop the water from freezing in the boiler, because if it did freeze, it would be a costly mistake and it isn't covered under warranty. So open all the taps and open this toggle tap to drain the boiler down. In your wardrobe, you've got a large hanging rail. That's where you'll find your awning winding handle. And this vehicle's also been fitted with a dual charging solar panel. So you can see battery 1 and battery 2 is green, which means it is fully charged. Battery 1's your leisure battery, and battery 2 will more than likely be your engine battery. As it's dual charging, it's charging both batteries, and there's only 2 batteries on this vehicle. You've got a meter here so you can see your voltage and your levels of your batteries. and then that is just your flue for your gas fire. So if you are wild camping, you will be heating your vehicle off gas. So to heat off gas, push and turn at the same time as sparking the ignition. Prime the gas through, and you'll hear it roar there, and if you look in there you'll see the flame just down there, and that's how you'd heat the vehicle on gas if you're wild camping. Of course you can use the electric side and gas together if it was really cold and you wanted to give the vehicle a head start and boost it up to temperature, so you weren't sitting for 20 minutes or so waiting for it to get to temperature on electric. With this it'll be hot in no time, 10 minutes max. Then you would turn the gas off and you would just allow the electric to continue to heat the vehicle, as you wouldn't want to waste your gas if you're on a site and you've paid your site fees. And then this side you do have your fan. So if it's off like it is now, it's convecting out the front, which is great if you're wild camping because you won't want to waste your leisure battery on a fan that blows it through the various parts of the vehicle. So around the vehicle and into the bathroom, you just allow it to convect and then it would just float around itself. You can use this fan on gas and electric. So what you need to do is that convects out the front of the fire. Automatic, there's a thermostat in the vehicle and you've got your fan speed 1 to 5, which is just how fast you want the fans to be running, so you can turn that right up. The thermostat in the vehicle, when it hits the temperature set, it will knock the heater off, and then when it drops it will kick back in. This side is just like manual, and you would then have to intervene by turning the heat down or turning the fan off, or turning it off completely if it got too hot. And then the little dot is obviously convecting out the front, which saves your 12-volt leisure battery. To make the lounge into a bed for an evening, so first of all you'd flip these sides up, that extension panels, and what that does is it just allows the bed to be slightly wider. Slide the lats out, slide them right out, and they'll come right onto here. So they'll come right over. Lift this panel and put it in between the two stoppers. That'll stop it from moving when in situ. And then you'd use your infill cushion, so you'd use this one here. Remove this section, push it right back so it's flush. Then use your backrest into there. Then you'd put this little cushion at the bottom, and then you'd use the backrest of this seat to go into there. And there you have your double bed. So you've got a double bed there, and obviously the ladder clips onto there, and you've got a double bed up there, which I'll show you in a second, and a walkway through past both bench seat and the bed. The reading lights are individually switched, so you've got them in both corners, and the same on that side as well. So with the Luton bed, you can push it up to have more headroom when coming from the cab into the back of the motorhome, and then you can pull it down. Your ladder then clips on, so slide it down. You see there's two lugs on either side, clip them onto the rail. And then what you do is pop these in so that it doesn't move off the rail. But when you've got it up in position, you can put all your bedding and all your lightweight extra clothing, infill cushions up here, and use it for storage when traveling with lightweight items. Got a light which are individually switched, the same as these ones. These ones have got little rocker switches on the side, that one and the one at the back, individually switched, so you'd have to turn it on by hand from the light itself. And then you've got a blackout blind and fly screen, and you can open the window the same as the rest. So now in the cab, so to the right you have your handbrake, and then on the door you have your electric windows and the electric mirror adjustment. So you use the joystick here and you can choose the top or the bottom mirror, so you've got 2 mirrors to adjust on both sides. To black the cab out on an evening, you would use the curtains, which will come right the way around. And then you've got your headlight adjustment. Your trip computer is on the end of your wiper stalk, so this will go through your range, your average and instant consumption, your travelling times, and your distance you've covered since you reset the trip. By just pressing and holding will reset the trip computer. You've got your steering wheel controls, so SRC just changes the source. You've got your volume and your mute. They might work, they might not, just as it has had an aftermarket head unit fitted to it, an Alpine unit. They were just for the standard head unit. Got your lights, so your side lights and your main lights, and then you have had cruise control retrofitted to the vehicle by previous keeper. So you turn on at the top, brings on the green light. You can press at the top, you've got on off, which is cruise control. If you press to the right, you've got your limiter, and you can press up and down to set it on the cruise control once you get up to that speed. 5-speed manual gearbox with lift the collar into reverse, brings on the rear view camera. This locks and unlocks the cab doors. You have to manually lock the habitation door. Rear fog lights and heated mirrors. 2 12-volt points. Glove box, which is locked by the key, the main ignition key, and you've got storage in there, storage in here, and storage in the top there. Climate control, so you've got your temperature, then your fan speed, then you've got your distribution this side, so face, feet or screen, and whether you're bringing fresh air in or you're recirculating air that's already within the vehicle. You can turn on and off from here on the radio. Turns it off, turns it back on. You've got USB and auxiliary connection.
Visit any.
There's your radio working there, so you can scroll through the channels and press 1 to 6 to save them. Source goes from FM to disc, and you can put a disc in the top. USB audio or BT audio, so you can connect your phone to it by just finding the device on your phone, so it'll be classed as an Alpine head unit. Auxiliary, and then you're back to your tuner, which is FM. You can take calls by answering through here, and then you've got your band, so you can change FM, AM, and so on. And that now brings us to the end of the handover on the Elddis Autoquest 100 2011 model.